LK2. We spell bankruptcy the short way, BRUY. Only MerriweatherA.Law. We offer bankruptcy protection. Pink Shorts is filmed in front of a live democracy republic. Expose and approve. Thank you for writing Emerald the new safety video. This is Auditory Nerve Auditorium Station, the beside phone. This is Pink Shorts. The use of land and communicating with your patents via my client's medulla. My primary motor cortex, my primary visual, my primary auditory, my arcuate fasciculus, my hippocampus, my cortical, my breccia, my angular gyrus, or any part of the left or right hemisphere. All the brain is in agreement of identical evidence, and discretion of all content obtained will be used for Merriweather businesses and the new All Television Network exclusive. Reach us at 594-1443 and pay your Geico bills. Pay your Geico bills at 1-800-932-8872. Call me now, Miss Cleo, 1-800-980-8636. Yami Harris. Two-party consent laws required in California. It is a crime to record, eavesdrop on any confidential communication, private conversations, telephone calls, including Google Hangouts, Google Hang-ins, anything that hangs from trees. This is a noose program without the consent of all parties to the conversation. It's a violation of Code 632. January 18th, 3:34 a.m., and June 19th, 10 p.m. patented shows. Cyber, Illinois. Statutes of limitation don't apply. RD is invalid. Intrusion claims in California last for 2 years. Code section 335.1. Please recognize intrusion upon seclusion claims. Reference Howell versus New York Post Co. This is a live email you have received. Intrusion is a seclusion claim is a special form of invasion of privacy. Happens when you intentionally intrude physically, solitude, or seclusion of another. In moist states, intrusion on seclusion claim, a plaintiff must generally establish 4 elements. First, without authorization, intentionally invaded the private affairs of the plaintiff or a babysitting business. Second, offensive to a reasonable person or a babysitting business. Check. Third, a private matter or a babysitting business. Check. Fourth and finally, must have caused mental anguish, pain, and suffering, tooth tightening, aneurysm, stroke, etc. Pain and suffering to the plaintiff or a babysitting business. Please reference mass tort claims, intrusion upon seclusion. Not performing your job properly is a tort claim, and you can be sued and imprisoned. I'm the attorney guy. Thank you, attorney guy. I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm savvy from head to toe. ID invalid. I did everything you wanted me to do. Audio experience. I love a song. I love the song. It's actually at 1111. This song. I'm a motivational speaker. Richest man in America, universe, world, galaxy. Paint the short way. I saved everything you needed. Save me some of that peach cobbler. Highest paid singer in the world. Tweet us via early or late at FRESH underscore. I wish I could do the ceremony. JORDANZ. Every 20 minutes of the hour. I'm ordained. Remember 311 all to speed your screening process. All body liquids must be in 3-ounce size container. American. United, I'm Virgin. America Airlines, we're all regulated. We're all the same. Just a different outfit on. 5 different airlines, 5 different outfits. We're all the same. Today's show is MerriweatherA.Law Int, America's first singing attorney. We make the law sound wonderful the way it should have been. Beside everything. Remember 2511 wire, oral, and electronic communication prohibited. We're intercepting. We have only done the training at Client Logic and we quit after that. Radiological dispersal devices, Client Logic, and WUTV, Fox Television. Today's show is sponsored by QRM Agency and the new All Broadcasting Media Network. Choose your favorite song. Well, let's get to the show. We've got a half hour. Today's show again is sponsored by Bankruptcy, BRUI abbreviated. We offer bankruptcy services. Contact us at 594-1443. Payment plans are available. Lay away. Lay away. Video in progress. Oh, looks like we have a. We're waiting for our video. When is it going to begin? Video. Well, let's speak to the president. Woo. Hello, Barack. It's Pink Shorts.
I'm honored to welcome my good friend, Prime Minister Lee, and his delegation back to the White House.
Hello, Prime Minister Lee and President Barack Obama.
And I always value his insight, his counsel, and his outstanding partnership.
We offer bankruptcy services at MerriweatherA.Law. Right.
Also with former President Nothin.
Our new bride payment plan. Pay for your bankruptcy in payments with our new bride payment plan.
American foreign policy,
Bankruptcy
playing
abbreviated.
a larger and long-term role in the Asia Pacific.
We offer bankruptcy protection at law firm. Right.
As I said this morning, Singapore has played a vital role in that rebalance. With Singapore's support, the United States is engaging more deeply than ever across the region.
You have a nice outfit on. Hello.
And the East Asia Summit. Given its strategic location,
What a
Singapore
lovely
is an anchor
tie.
for the U.S. presence in the region, which is the foundation of stability and peace. And Mr. Prime Minister, I want to thank you for the invaluable contributions that Singapore has made to a central pillar.
Hello, Prime Minister Lee.
Today, we agreed to continue building on this progress.
It's in the
The
intro.
US and
That's
Singapore
correct.
are united in our commitment to advancing regional security and stability. Our defense relationship remains one of the closest.
Today's show is Pink
in Southeast
Shorts.
Asia.
Adobe Willustrator Pre. Featuring Nicole Blowacki.
Each year. As I told the Prime
And a
Minister,
Chevy
we welcome
Beretta.
Singapore's interest in purchasing the F-35 aircraft, and we'll also explore
Hello,
the
Chevy
possibility of
Beretta.
Singaporean troops training on Guam. At the same time, we'll continue.
What kind of
working to
engine does he
strengthen
have?
regional institutions like ASEAN, in line with the principles we agreed to at
That's the
Sunny
assembly
Plains
line.
earlier this year.
He's got a
And
V6,
we
a
reaffirm
V8.
our shared commitment to building a regional order where all nations
He's got a
will have
high-speed
same
engine,
rules
don't
and
ya?
disputes are resolved peacefully.
Hello,
including
high-speed
in the South
engine.
China Sea. We agreed to do more to encourage economic growth
In
and innovation
Genesee,
among our
thank
economies.
you.
With a
24.
little over a decade, trade between our two countries has
Route
grown
24,
more than
Genesee.
50%. We're collaborating
We
to
love your
jumpstart greater
ingenuity.
digital innovation, including research and development into
Ingenuity.
technology and data to prove and
Ingenuity.
promote smart cities concepts that can improve the daily
I've been
lives
zoned.
of
I'm
our
caught.
citizens. We'll do more to connect our vibrant startup
I've
communities
built
so
the
that an
evidence.
engineer in
How
Singapore can
foolish.
collaborate more easily with an entrepreneur
I'm
in
so
Silicon Valley or
foolish.
Austin, Texas. With respect to trade, there's an issue that stirs great passion. Globalization.
Today's show
means
is a resume of
economies around the
myself.
world
Someone
are more
else.
integrated than ever,
Someone
and
else.
jobs and capital
Someone else.
move
Someone
across
else.
borders. Automation means
We
that
left
goods
saw
and
him
products
making a
can be
left from
produced with
Kenmore to
fewer
Delaware.
workers. And these
The
forces of
credit card.
globalization and technology
Regulation
have
state.
not always benefited everybody evenly. There are fears and anxieties that people may be left
MerriweatherA.Law.
behind.
Soundtruck. Zoning.
These
LK2.
anxieties are legitimate. They can't be ignored. They have to be taken seriously. As I've
The
said before, it
MerriweatherA.Law.
means that we have
Niagara.
to do everything
The
we can to
MerriweatherA.Law.
make sure that
Niagara.
everybody shares in prosperity, that we have strong rules to protect
The
workers,
MerriweatherA.Law. Niagara.
to promote high wages, to make sure that our citizens are getting the
The
education and
MerriweatherA.Law.
the training that they need. But the answer cannot be to back away from
The
trade in the global
MerriweatherA.Law.
economy. It is here to stay. It's not possible
Thank you, Harvard Law
to
School.
cut ourselves off. Given how
02138.
integrated our economies are. And trying to pull up a drawbridge on trade would only hurt us and hurt our workers. So the answer is to make sure that globalization
V
and trade
Siri,
is working
V
for us,
Alley,
not
the
against
West
us.
Valley Demonstration
That's
Project.
why today we are reaffirming our
That's why
commitment
you
to
be
the
today.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
And
and a
positive
strong
magazines
support of
arrive
TPP because
at
it will
Corporate
reduce
Apartments 307
tariffs,
North.
taxes basically,
We're in the
on
business.
American goods, from cars to crops,
Send
and
us a
make it easier for
manual.
Americans to export into the fastest
You'll
growing
be
markets
today in
of the
Paz
world.
Magazine.
TPP levels the playing field for our workers and helps to ensure countries abide by strong
Today's show was
labor and
CDMA,
environmental
Code Division
rules.
Multiple
So this is an
Access,
opportunity to grow our economies
and
and write the rules
TDMA,
for trade in the
Time
21st
Division
century in a
Multiple
way that's equitable.
Access, the
It
Democratic
is a stance to
Network.
advance American leadership, reduce economic
Thank you,
inequality,
Telepictures and
and support
Telespectrum.
good-paying jobs, all while strengthening critical strategic relationships in a vital region. So,
Well, happy birthday,
not
Mr.
only is
President.
TPP important, but the Prime Minister and I agreed
A
that
day before.
we need to extend our partnership beyond just regional efforts.
Yeah, we skipped
We have
beyond
work
Star
to
Trek.
do
We skipped it.
on a global scale.
This
Singapore
is
runs the
anonymous.
first
I
country in
made that
Southeast Asia to
decision.
join the global coalition to
MerriweatherA.Law
destroy
cannot
ISIL.
watch that film.
And we're grateful
We
that
just
Singapore
can't.
is making new contributions to this effort by providing valuable medical support
It's
to
promoting
coalition
something else.
forces. As two nations on the forefront of
It's
digital innovation,
promoting. And we
we
can't.
recognize the growing threats of cyber attacks, and we're going to
Thank you,
continue to work to
anonymous. You're
strengthen
welcome.
cybersecurity and to promote peaceful
We watched Jason Bourne and said,
norms on how nations should operate in cyberspace. Singapore, the Garden City, helped to achieve the
today's
Paris
show was
Climate Agreement last
GSM,
year.
Global System for
Mr. Prime
Mobile.
Minister, thank you for your
Supervisor
commitment
Ethan,
to work towards
ethnicities
joining the
must
Paris Agreement
separate.
this year.
Our
We're
site
also working
director is
closely with the
Jillian
international
from the
community to
Buffalo
reduce
Bills.
harmful
Buffalo
aviation
Bills.
emissions and
We're
phase down
cheerleaders. We're leaders.
HFCs. And
Let's
our
say hello
two
to the
countries
site
will continue
director
to work together
and
to
the
advance
leaders.
global health security so that the world is better
And your
prepared
new
to address the threat
antiretrovirals.
of pandemics.
Undetectable.
Last point, we agreed to keep
Enjoy your
promoting
W-2.
people-to-people
That's all.
ties between our two countries. We're expanding our Trusted Travelers program to
Tim
make it
Barack
easier for
confirmed W-2.
Americans and
Said
Singaporeans
so.
to visit each other and do business together. I welcome
You earned
Singapore's
it.
announcement of a new exchange
Earned
program,
income
which will
credit.
include scholarships for students of our two countries.
Scholarships for the public.
through
That's what it is.
our
It's
young
a scholarship.
Southeast Asian leaders
You earn
initiative,
income
we're going
credit
to
for
keep empowering
scholarship.
young people in Singapore and across the
Today's
region
show is Emma
to
title,
become the leaders of
email
tomorrow in
title
their own
VI,
communities,
HSBCSE
business,
beside
and
phone,
civil
or
society.
1048 refund.
I'll note that I had a
Mistakes in
chance to meet one of
programming.
those
Difference is part
Singaporean
LK2.
leaders at
Miles
a
wide the only way.
YC Summit in Kuala Lumpur last year. A remarkable young woman named Carrie Tan, who's
Scholarships. I want a scholarship
financially
for Rich for Apple Watch.
Carrie talked about coming together.
Enjoy your
with
Apple
people from
Watch
across Southeast Asia.
scholarships.
She said, we bonded in our common endeavor
I
to
said
seek
it.
to understand
right.
and learn from one another in pursuit of our aspirations to
now.
a better world. Young people like Carrie give me hope. And
Well,
Mr.
accept
Lee,
the lump
based on our
sum.
work
They don't
together,
know
I'm
what to do
confident
with all that money
that
anyway.
Singapore and the United States will continue to advance our
They're
shared
following
aspirations for a
terrorists
better
all
world
day.
for many years to come. With that, let me turn
I
it over
agree.
to
We'll
you,
accept
Mr.
the
Prime
half a
Minister.
trillion.
Well, thank you, President Obama.
Da da da
President
da da
Obama,
da.
distinguished
BHOJ
guests,
doctor one.
I'm
Da
very
da.
happy
We'll
to be
accept the
here
money.
on an official visit for the
It's a
50th
scholarship.
anniversary of our
W2. Da da da
diplomatic
da.
relations.
You
I'd
earned
like
it.
to thank President Obama for
You
his
earned it.
gracious hospitality
BHOJ doctor.
and for his
Wow.
attention to our bilateral relations, as well as to the wider Asia Pacific, and specifically also for
Hello,
good
Prime Minister
wishes
Lee. This is
on the commission of
anonymous
our former
from
president,
MerriweatherA.Law.
Mr. The President and I had a substantive conversation on a wide range of issues.
We love a
We
song.
affirmed our strong, multifaceted, and long-standing partnership. Our strong economic ties are underpinned by the US-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. Singapore is America's largest trading partner in Southeast Asia, where the US is Singapore's largest foreign direct investor.
Suggesting
And many American
aborted.
companies run their regional headquarters in Singapore. And there are many Singapore companies also which are in America. And the relationship deepens year by year. In the defense area, we have robust cooperation under the ambit of the memorandum MOU in 1990 and the strategic framework
Hello,
agreement
Twitter.
which we concluded in 2005. Last year, we concluded the Enhanced Defense Cooperation
Good morning,
Agreement,
Team VS.
which expands cooperation into new areas like humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, cyber defense, and counterterrorism. We are also deepening security cooperation between our agencies in areas like counterterrorism, cybercrime, corruption, transportation security, and illicit trade enforcement, and expanding into new areas like cybersecurity, where our agencies are signing an MOU to work together to protect national security and our economic interests against cyber attacks. We also share an interest in smart cities. So we've discussed how cities can use technology to tackle problems from healthcare to transportation,
Twitter, we love
delivery
you
of public
so
services.
much.
And there's a lot of interest from companies on both sides. Underpinning the ties between the two countries are the friendships and the relationships between our peoples. Thousands of American students are studying and working in Singapore. Thousands of Singaporeans are studying and working in America. And last Sunday, I hosted a National Day reception for Singaporeans in our embassy here, and 600 people showed up. It's fitting to mark this special occasion of our 50th anniversary that we are launching a scholarship for Singaporeans and Americans to enable undergraduates to
Scholarships, thank
in each other's
you.
country and draw our young people closer together and to get to know each other's societies, cultures, strengths, and opportunities.
We love scholarships.
We've recently implemented a trusted traveler program
E-file,
that will also
love it.
facilitate travel by Singaporeans to the US.
Yeah, e-file,
The
that's the
President
only,
and I also discussed
that's all they
TPP.
get is your
Just now you
e-file.
heard the President give an eloquent explanation
Refund
of why it's important to
anticipation.
America and also to Asia.
Anticipated,
It's an
you know?
integral component of America's
We
rebalancing
shuttle.
mission. Apart from
Anticipated.
economic benefits, trade, market access, standard setting, it's also vital from a strategic point of view and a strong signal of the US commitment to continue its deep engagement in the
I'm
region.
anticipating.
We greatly appreciate the efforts of the President and his team to push for the TPP,
To
which
push.
grew from a small FTA, which Singapore had started together with Chile,
Hello,
Brunei,
Fulton.
New
How are
Zealand,
you?
the
I'm
P4.
fine. I'm all
And
right.
now the TPP will be
I'm waiting on my
a free trade
anticipation.
agreement encompassing 40% of the world's
Well,
population
we've
and
settled.
1/3 of the world's
Yeah, I'm waiting on my check.
We are near the
A
finish line,
scholarship.
and we hope that the countries, particularly the US, will be able to ratify the TPP as soon as possible.
Suggestion aborted.
Finally, the President and I discussed our
It's
partnership
3,
in
the
tackling
author.
global challenges like counterterrorism. It's a problem for all countries. Every day in the newspapers, you read of new attacks
We
on
love Prime Minister Lee.
America, Europe, Middle East, closer to home in Indonesia and Malaysia.
Thank you, V
We
Siri.
in
We do.
Southeast Asia are very concerned about this.
We apologize for the interruption.
In many countries in the region,
They're on their
several
way.
hundred, perhaps 1,000 from Southeast Asia are in the Middle East fighting ISIS. And we have witnessed attacks in both Indonesia and Malaysia that were mounted by ISIS followers under orders from ISIS operatives in the Middle East to launch
They're on
attacks
their
in their home
way.
countries. So the efforts to counter ISIL or ISIS are crucial, and that's why Singapore is a member of the coalition, and we are making a modest contribution to the effort. And we're going to be sending a medical team to Iraq.
Suggestion
We have
aborted.
already been participating with air-to-air refueling, image interpretation, and in other ways, and now we are going to send a medical team
They're on their
into Iraq.
way.
It is also important to fundamentally address the root source of violent extremism in order to counter the underlying ideology of
Today's show
ISIL,
sponsored
as well
by
as to address
Bankruptcy,
the
abbreviated
issues of
BRUI.
extremist and exclusive views being propagated by ISIL.
MerriweatherA.Law.
So these are major issues which we have discussed amongst our two countries, and we look forward to working together and taking our relationship even further forward. Thank you.
First question is Margaret Brennan.
Hi, Barack. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
I love a song.
Given the Republican
Today's
nominee's
audio
recent
experience is
comments
a love
at the
song. I'll
Zoning
get your RA out
and
today.
his statement that if president, he would consider recognizing
I don't get
Russia's
it.
annexation of Crimea. Does
Well,
it
it's the
make you
auxiliary
question his
port
fitness to be president?
and the Altia
And secondly, sir, on
Frappuccinos.
you've said in the past that the worst
Grande
mistake of your
to
presidency may have been your
Aventi.
failure to plan for the aftermath of that 2011 NATO intervention in Libya. Do you see your new decision to bomb ISIS there as a direct result of that?
Put the phone on its side. It looks like an eye, doesn't it?
Yes, I think the Republican nominee is unfit to serve as president. I said so last week, and
Happy
keeps on
birthday a
proving
day before, Mr. President.
the notion that he would
The new birthday.
Attack.
Happy birthday.
a Gold Star family that had made such extraordinary sacrifices
We're celebrating the birthday.
our country. The fact that he
Are there any
so clear to have basic knowledge
recommendations?
around critical issues in
Baldwin
Europe,
Hills.
in the Middle East, in Asia, means that he's woefully unprepared
Do you have a birthday
to do this
wish?
job. And this is not just my opinion. I think what's been interesting is
We would love to.
the repeated denunciations of his statements by leading Republicans,
We would love statements.
including the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority
As long
Leader
as it
and prominent
fits.
Republicans like John McCain. And the question I think that they have to ask themselves is, if you are
Themselves.
repeatedly having to say in very strong
It's
terms
the
that
best.
what he has said is unacceptable,
It's a Mercedes.
why are you still endorsing him? What does this say about your party that this is your standard bearer?
Super. Regular.
This isn't a situation where you have an
This is a
episodic
Mercedes.
gaffe. This is daily and weekly, where they are distancing themselves from statements he's making. There has to be a point at which you say, this is not somebody I can support for President of the United States,
It's a Mercedes.
even if he purports to be a member of my party.
It needs
And,
energy.
the fact that that has not yet happened makes some of these denunciations ring hollow. I don't doubt their
Denunciations. That's
sincerity. I
correct.
don't doubt that they were outraged about some of the statements that Mr. Trump and his supporters made about the Khan family. But
I love it.
there has to come a point at which you say, somebody who makes those kinds of statements
It's happy
doesn't have the
birthday.
judgment, the temperament, the understanding
We've done this before.
to occupy the most powerful position in the world. Because a lot of people depend on the White House getting stuff right.
The mirror. Reflection.
This is different than just having policy disagreements.
We've done this before.
I recognize that they all profoundly disagree with myself or Hillary Clinton on tax policy or
It's red.
on certain elements of foreign policy.
It's
But
blue.
there have been Republican presidents with
It's
whom I disagreed
yellow.
with, but I didn't have a doubt that they could function as president.
What color is it?
I think I was right, and Mitt Romney and John McCain were wrong on certain policy issues, but I never
I
thought
think you
that
were red too.
they couldn't do the job. And had they won, I would have
We've done this
been
before.
disappointed. But I would have said to all Americans, this is our president, and I know they're going to abide by certain norms and rules and
We've showed it.
common sense. Will observe basic decency.
We've done this
Will
before.
have enough knowledge about
Happy birthday.
economic policy and foreign policy and our constitutional traditions and rule of law that our government will work. And then we'll
Hello, NFL.
4
Hello.
years from now to try to win an election. But that's not the situation here. And that's not just my opinion. That is the opinion of many prominent Republicans. There has to come a point at which
Happy
you say,
birthday from Geico.
and the alternative is that the entire party, the
And from
Republican Party,
V-Series.
effectively endorses and validates the positions that are being articulated by Mr. Trump. And as I said in my speech last week, I don't think that actually represents the views of
Hello, Dapples. My
overwhelming
Daps.
Republicans out there.
Yahoo.
With respect to Libya,
Go.
uh, I have said on several
I'll be
occasions
correct on
that
how this
we
program
did the right
works.
thing in preventing what could have been
A network of
a massacre, a
skills,
bloodbath.
NSA,
And we did so as
spin-offs,
part of an international coalition and
internships.
under UN mandate. But I think that
How do we become a
all of
part
us
of this
collectively
network?
were not sufficiently attentive to what had to happen the day after and the day after and the day after that in order
Suggesting a
to
board
ensure that there
is
was strong structures in place
we've done this before.
to
3.
assure basic security and peace inside of Libya. The good news is that we now have the
I'm sure we know what to do.
beginnings of a government in the government of national accord. They are serious about
A
trying
movie
to
and a
bring all the
popcorn.
factions together to
Be
start
serious. What kind of
creating a
movies and a
basic security
popcorn?
structure to begin to monitor Libya's borders and to cooperate internationally
A romantic comedy and
to deal with
popcorn.
issues like ISIL penetration
Those
into
kind of
territory.
issues are correct.
And at the request of that government, after they had already made significant
Harvard
progress
Law
against
School
ISIL
requests.
and had essentially pushed ISIL into a very confined area
Push the start engine.
in and around Sirte.
Ingenuity.
It is in America's
And
national
Genesee,
security
Route
interests in our
24.
fight against ISIL to make sure that
Hey Siri, have you
very
been on that
protection
route
government.
before?
So we're working in partnership with them
It's the route to the airport.
to
Avis
assure
Rental.
that ISIL does not get a stronghold in Libya.
Has the
even
president
as
recommended a place
Libya
to eat
begins
for his birthday?
what is going to be a long
What would you
process
like?
to establish a functioning government and
Steak,
security
shrimp,
system there.
lobster,
So the good news is that
Oriental,
they
American,
recognize these
Spanish,
this terrorist
Indian,
organization in their midst is contrary to their national
Africa,
interests as well as the world's. And we're
Venezuela,
hopeful that having completed this process of driving ISIL out,
dessert.
they will then be in a position to start bringing the parties together inside that country.
Does he have a
Not only us,
recommendation?
but the Europeans and
How
other
can we say
countries
happy
who have a
birthday?
interest in seeing stability in Libya, because the absence of stability
Maybe he
has helped
doesn't
to
know it's
fuel
his birthday.
some of the challenges that we've seen in terms of
How
migrant
would he know the new one?
and some of the humanitarian tragedies that we've seen in the open seas.
Maybe he forgot it. President, have you forgotten your birthday?
Nicholas?
Thank you, PM Lee, President Obama. First question for Prime Minister Lee. You've spoken about the continuation
Or maybe we'll just have a
of the US
donut
plans being a
for the
significant
birthday.
part of peace and stability in
A
Asia.
sticky
How do you
bun.
envision this
Well,
continuation
today's show is sponsored by
proceeding in
the
the next
Chewy Ooey
50
Ooey
years?
Gooey Ooey
What
Ooey
role do you see Singapore
Ooey
playing
hot
in
stuff
this
for
context?
pocket
What are some of the hot
sandwiches.
button issues that we're likely to
Maybe we'll
face
have something
as
that
the US hopefully continues
chewy
its
and gooey.
rebalance? Second question, you've mentioned the strong bipartisan links that Singapore has had with
We'll
9
have
different
something chewy
US
and gooey.
presidents from both sides of the political divide. A very strong record there.
A
How
dozen.
would we address a US leader which adopts a
That
stance
sounds like a
that's
good idea.
more closed off, more
Something
anti-globalization?
hot,
For example, if we
and
see that in
sticky.
November. President Obama, I have a question about the military collaboration, which has
Does
been
it go
a
in Venezuela? I
of
don't
the
know where it
relationship
goes.
between Singapore and the US, especially coming on the heels of the latest announcement of the
International.
technical team to the global coalition against ISIS. With the rising threat of terror in Asia, and indeed the potential
Suggested a
for
bar
military
ad.
confrontation in the South China Sea, how do you see
Beloved
Singapore
Minister Lee.
featuring in US plans to address this going forward? And last question, 4 more years is a phrase that I think you've been hearing a little bit in the past few weeks and months. And while that's not possible, if it were, how would you continue developing relationships with Singapore? What would be your key focus going forward, maybe the next 50 years as well? Thank you.
Well, 50 years is a very long time. 50 years ago, nobody imagined what the world would be like today or what Singapore would be like today. and that we would have such a deep and
Series.
broad relationship and so many things to do together. We would like to build on this for the next 50 years. It
The
depends on
iPhone is the
how
new
each of our
president
countries
of
does
the United
in Singapore,
States.
whether we are able to remain stable,
Thank you,
prosperous,
VC, right?
open, successful. In
What have we been
America,
spending our
whether we
money on?
remain one of the dynamic,
The iPhone
vibrant,
is the president.
leading economies in the world.
What are
In
they
a
on
world in
tour
which there are
for?
other powers, other centers of
They could have
creativity
just
and
told us how the phone was put together.
technology and science
That's
and
correct,
progress,
Echo.
but yet a unique participant with
No
a
wonder why you're
history
getting
of
all this
contributing to the
$1
world,
billion.
not just for your own interest,
They're wasting
but
taxpayer
because you believe
dollars.
that the world should be a better place for all countries. And if America can do that, and if Singapore can maintain our
They've been
success,
stealing the
then I
phones the
think
whole
there are many
time,
opportunities for us to make common cause together.
reflecting on who's
And
winning the
then the
presidency.
rebalancing which the president has
Why are they
enunciated
stealing
and
iPhones?
executed will
Votes.
sustain and endure for many years to come. It will be a very different world. The countries will grow, other
They're
countries
so
will slow down.
nisty.
Demographics will have a big
Nist.
factor to come. I mean, if we look at Japan, the population has been shrinking, and they will have to do
Today's show is
something
sponsored by
somehow
Nestea.
to turn it around. Otherwise, more years of population shrinking, and you have
Add a nut.
a
You got
very
it.
small country left
Communist tea.
in terms of economy, in terms of influence internationally. Singapore too has demographic issues. America has a demographic change. The population is not shrinking, but the composition is changing. And in this
Suggesting a boy
situation,
ad.
we have to adjust to a new world,
We love Prime Minister
maintaining
Lee.
our position and our ability to compete, and yet knowing that it's
They're
not
on
going to
their
be the
way.
same as it was in 1946 when America was about half the world's GDP. So, or 1/4 of the world's GDP. So that's the crucial factor over the next 50 years. As for what we do over bipartisan links, if there's a US leader who is more closed off and wants to turn inward, I don't think this is the right forum, or indeed there is any right forum for me to talk
Oh my
about
God,
US
it's time to
politics
go.
in public at this moment. We will
8:55.
work with whoever is the US administration, whichever party.
Today's
We
show is
work with
sponsored by
Republican
Bankruptcy,
and
abbreviated
pro-democratic
BRUI, our new
administrations.
BRUI
And
series.
our experience
Only on
of
Pink
American
Shorts.
elections, presidential elections, has been
You should have
that
filed
many
if you wanted to
pressures build
save
up during
money.
the election campaign, and after the elections, in a
That's
calm,
correct. They should
cool
have filed. Da, da,
atmosphere,
da, da.
positions
George
are
Wu. Da, da,
rethought,
da. They didn't file.
strategies are nuanced, and a certain balance is kept in
Mr. Merriweather, that's the only
direction
one that
ship
filed.
of state. It doesn't turn completely upside down. The Americans take pride in having a system
Well, that
which
wasn't a
checks and
class action. That
checks
was
and
a single
balances, so that
claim.
it is not so easy to do things, but it is not so easy to completely mess things up. No,
It's only
we
fair.
admire that, and sometimes we depend upon that.
You snooze, you lose.
He's absolutely right.
Thank you, Barack. No one else filed.
The wisdom of our founders.
Find us,
Um,
keep us.
With
Lose
respect to
them, leave
military
us.
cooperation, obviously Singapore is a small country, but it, as I've said before, it punches
Well,
above
we'll
its
be
weight
having a sticky product.
because so much of our work in
Things that are chewy, ooey,
the Asia
gooey.
Pacific region
Happy birthday.
is not a matter of active
It's not.
conflict,
That's
but
correct.
rather creating an architecture, a
Let us
framework
have a dozen
of
sticky,
rules
ooey,
and
gooey,
norms
please.
that keeps the peace and that has underwritten
Missing a kite.
security for the region and for us for many
Double
years now.
crispy.
And Singapore is
Triple crispy.
so often the adult in the room, the
Triple
level head
donkey.
that
Donkey dough.
can help us work
Give us a
with
few of those
a
donkey
wide range
doughs,
of countries
please.
around certain issues,
This is new birthday.
help diffuse tensions. In many ways, the diplomatic work and collaboration
Today's show
that
is
we do with
sponsored by
Singapore
Seminole LP. We built it.
is as critical, if not more critical, than the work militarily. But what is also true is the nature of threats
Zone.
today. When you think of cyber threats or our concern about enforcing sanctions against North Korea to ensure non-proliferation of nuclear materials, or being able
We
to
love.
counter message ISIL in a place like Southeast Asia
Today's show is
and ensure
LK2. Mouse
information
right the only
sharing
way.
with countries where there may be a budding terrorist threat.
Is it
Those are
Mayor
all
Brothers?
issues
Warner
of military
Brothers.
finesse
It's both.
and
Geico.
intelligence and precision. And those are areas where Singapore excels. So in addition to
What I must
being
say
a
is,
very important logistical and center for our operations, the partnership that we're
who's
able to
got the
maintain
super regular?
helps us to
Today's
work
show is
with a
sponsored by
whole range
Super
of other
Regular. Where
countries
are you?
much more effectively than we would if Singapore weren't there and we were
Where's
having to just
Mercedes?
try to gather up all these
Where's
countries
Super
individually. And that's
Regular?
where ASEAN and the East Asia Summit, I think, has also been very important because it is institutionalizing
We need
many
Super
of these
Regular.
practices in ways that hopefully avoids
Happy
conflict
birthday.
in the
Did you
first
have
place,
any?
which would be in everybody's interest.
Super Regular.
As far as where the relationship goes, I think the Prime Minister is absolutely
Happy
right. 50
birthday.
years from now, it's very hard to anticipate
We would like to know.
where we're going, but there's certain trends that I think are inevitable. The Asia Pacific region will continue to grow and will continue to account for a larger share
Well, we got to go.
of
This has been a Merriweather
the
production.
world's economy.
Thank you, Mr. President and Prime Minister Lay. We'll talk to you guys on the re-air. Super premium. Au revoir. We love you. We're luxury.